Hello, thank you for tuning into my channel. I wanted to just make a video to sort of clarify why I have taken down the content about Diana and Lady C's book, The Real Diana. There was an unforeseeable situation that occurred yesterday that I had not counted on, and it really put into perspective whether I wanted to continue reading the book. What happened was yesterday I put out a video questioning a certain narrative that Lady C had put forth in her book. When I had initially read chapter 17, I believe it was 17 or 18, there had been a scene in that book that she described in which Diana was trying to demean Charles. She had a list of various times when Diana had tried to demean Charles. She described an episode in which he had sat down to play the cello, and as he was trying to tune up, she sneaked up behind him, sat down at the piano, and triumphantly took center stage. All the cameras went to her, and he was very upset about it. And knowing that there must be footage of that, I went looking for it, wanting to include it in the video because, initially, I had some reservations about reviewing one of Lady C's books. I haven't always enjoyed her videos, and so I thought, well, I don't really know if I want to give voice or give attention to any of her books. But as I was reading, people had been right. They said, well, you may not enjoy her videos, but you'll enjoy her books. And I could see that, the book was engaging. It was full of very interesting facts, things I hadn't heard before. And so, I was cheering her right along. And as revelation upon revelation was revealed, I was like, whoa, this is amazing. I've never heard any of this before. And in the comments, we were all together saying, well, we've never heard any of this. But when I came up against something that didn't seem like it quite matched, I felt like I had been a liar to put forth to you what looked to me like hyperbole. It looked like exaggeration to make the point that Diana was a demeaning, horrible person who always needed the light on her and was always trying to trot on Charles's throat and always trying to put him down. Look, I'm not saying there aren't real examples of her doing that. I think that there's many times that we can cite that happened. To me, though, this just didn't seem like one of those times. So I played the footage for you all, and I asked, what do you think about this? Does this match the description she gave that was, just dripping with venom from Diana's part, triumphantly taking center stage, wrecking this moment that was supposed to be Charles? And I said, does this seem the same? And I said, this concerns me because this footage, if this is what she's describing and it doesn't match, is it possible that there's other things in this book that we can't verify that also don't match? That seemed like an honest question. And if she can go ahead, she can write that, it's her book, she can. As somebody who is reading something to you, I didn't feel like it didn't sit right with me to let that go out as fact when the video to me didn't really show that, I didn't see Charles sitting there upset. I did see that when they invited her to go to the piano, he didn't seem like he thought that was a great idea. I'm willing to concede that. But as far as her uninvitedly coming to the piano, sneaking up behind him, stealing his moment when he was about to play a piece, I didn't see that in the video. And so that's all I was saying. I wasn't trying to go after Lady C anyway. I wasn't trying to be mean, unkind, malicious, vicious, none of that. I was just saying I, as a presenter, need to be honest if I feel like I've put something out there as fact, but I can't back it up as fact. It may not have bothered Lady C's conscience, it bothered mine. And so I felt like I needed to go back and correct it. And I had to say, this does bear question. If what I can verify doesn't hold up to scrutiny, is it possible that some of the other things don't either? That's a fair question. And there's nothing wrong with a person asking that question. To present something as fact when the video does not show that is not truthful. And for me to say that is within my rights as a presenter to do that. However, Lady C did not appreciate it. I know that there are many ardent fans of Lady C who watch my videos. They often comment and are annoyed with me because I don't worship at her feet. So it would seem that some of her greatest fans took my video from my tiny little YouTube channel that has like 24,000, viewers, 24,000 subscribers, tiny in comparison to hers, sent her the video and said, you should see what this person is saying about you. Okay, well, she didn't like it. And she came after me with such an overreaction to that video. I was astounded. Now, bear in mind, I was teaching yesterday and I saw all this on my lunch break and on one of my planning periods. So I wasn't in the frame of mind to really get into it with her at all. And I was just blown away. And honestly, it was so distracting to see this coming in. I wouldn't have even looked at it, except for the fact that I don't get notifications about anything that happens with my YouTube channel unless a verified account comments on one of my videos. Then they send me a notification. And I was getting notification and notification and notification. And so I wanted to see, what? Oh, Lady C's commenting? Like, that was astounding. So on my lunch break, I definitely looked into it. So anyway, I just wanted to read through those comments with you because based off of what she was saying in those comments, it just made me realize this isn't a book I want to cover. I'm done with this. I have no interest in giving any more of my time to this book or any of my time to this woman's work. She writes a lot of books, and that's great for her. And there's tons of YouTube channels that want to cover her. I was reluctant initially to cover it, and I stand behind that now. I should have gone with my gut. I should have believed what I knew to be true. Instead, I tried to give it a go. I feel like I gave it a really honest go. And I got burned for my efforts. But let's just go through these comments, and I think that you'll understand why it's important for us to move away from this book. I'll put up screenshots of them so you can follow along and see that I'm not making up any of this. Also, all of these comments are pinned under the video that she disliked. I've deleted all of my other content because if she wants to feel that there was a copyright infringement by me using her book as reference material, then I'm going to take down all that stuff. If that's offensive to her that I would use her book, I don't want to offend her. But me having an opinion about something that was in the book, I'm within my legal rights to do that. So I'm leaving that video up. But I do want you to see the conversation that we had regarding it. And like I said, I've left the video up where all of this is pinned here so that you can see. But if you want to go and study this more closely, where you can see it a little bit better, it's the first comment that's pinned under the video, under this video that I renamed so you could find it. All right, Lady C was made aware of my video, and she came out and said to me, let me pull this up on my computer. Y'all, this is very long. It's extremely, extremely long comments. So gird your loins. This isn't for the faint of heart. And you may want to just skip through this part of the video because it's quite long. But if you're interested in what she said, I'm reading every word of it. She said, "Your hysterical and malicious assertion that I lied has been brought to my attention. You might care to consider taking it down as A, it is untrue, B, it is defamatory, C, it is unjustified, and D, it does your impartiality and claims to proportionality no favors. You have leapt to a conclusion based upon a distortion, and one suspects self-aggrandizing perception. If you were really concerned about being factual and fair, you would not have relied upon one of the many edited clips of an event that took place presumably before you were even born. If you're going to criticize the writings of authors, you might care to consider the standard devices of which all reputable authors avail themselves. These include such phenomena, at least where you are concerned, of figures of speech, conveyance of tone and atmosphere, etc., etc. You have opportunistically and unscrupulously jumped upon an account that in no way can be twisted into the perverse interpretation you have placed upon it. You have no knowledge of who my sources are, or of the situation as it unfolded. You were not an eyewitness. You have never seen or been party to a recounting of the occasion." How does she know? "You have ignored a host of reports from reputable sources, all of which accord with the interpretation conveyed to me by my source. If you are aiming to be taken seriously as a book critic, you should consider refraining in the future from gross misrepresentations and exaggerations. You might also care to consider that I have hitherto refrained from requiring you to refrain from breaching the copyright of my book, which you have been milking exhaustively, as if you have a right to plug into it and use it to make an exhaustive and copyright breaching of the labors of others. I trust you will now be eager." Okay, there's some typos here. I'm just going to read it as she wrote. "I trust you will now be eager to remove your patently unfounded falsehood without further ado, if only to demonstrate to your following that you possess at least the appearance of integrity. I reserve all my rights with regard to this and all your other offenses to date, which relate to my book." I'm not sure which offenses she's referring to. That was never made clear, but I replied, "Thank you for dignifying my insignificant channel with your response. I'm sure my viewers will enjoy your comment. I have many loyal fans of yours who no doubt let you know about this video and will relish this quote telling off. Thank you for making their day. Am I to understand?" So I left it at that, and then I realized I probably should ask her if she really legitimately wants me to take everything down, or if she's just letting off steam. So then I came back, I edited that comment and I said, am I to understand that if I do not remove the content of this book, you plan to pursue legal action? The authors of every other book I have covered have welcomed the coverage and enjoyed the reviews. I'm astounded at your thin skin. I'll be happy to remove this content if you find it so offensive. All right, so, I have had authors of other books I've covered reach out and say this was fantastic. In fact, Andrew Loney, whose phenomenal book, Trader King, which was such a well-researched tome of excellence, would retweet every episode that I did, and he said the nicest things. He was such a delight. Tyler Zed's whole family watched my review. They all liked it. It's like, I'm sorry that she's offended that I asked one simple question, but it seemed like it was a legitimate question to ask. And if not for her, for myself, if I'm going to present something as fact and be like, this is who Diana is, and I find something that seems unsettling to me as not quite true and as hyperbolic and as presenting a fictionalized account of an event, I feel like I need to say something about it, or at least present it to you, and you can decide. That was my whole purpose. I wasn't telling you what to think. I was saying, what do you think? I found this video. Does it seem like it shows it to you? I was giving you all the option to view it. Many of you said, no, I see what Lady C says. Many of you said, I don't. There's nothing wrong with having a conversation. Okay, but it goes on. In response to me saying, would you like me to take this down? She says, your offer to remove the content is accepted. Please do forthwith. It is offensive. It is also untrue and defamatory. There is a difference between valid criticism and personal and unfounded abuse. Don't I know it? You elected to take the latter course and did so with unseemingly, one could say, malicious relish, as your histrionic headline confirms. How you could have come up with the interpretation that I lied is beyond reason, and to assert that I told a huge lie, your emphasis, not mine, compounded the offense. I do not propose to get into a wrangle with you as you seek to project your actions so that they become my failings, even down to the thickness of my skin. I have no offense to defend, and I will not be sucked or sickered into defending something that does not exist. Nor am I concerned in the least about the reaction of any author whose work you have criticized. I do not find defamation desirable, nor do I need your or anyone else's attentions. If others do, that's a matter for you and them, but has nothing whatsoever to do with me. May I observe before signing off that it is perplexing indeed that you would assert that your viewers would be able to enjoy a telling off when the content is taken down. If it's down, how can they enjoy the telling off? Being much older than you, I leave you with the observation that there are times in life when throwing one's hands up and admitting an error reflects well, not adversely upon you. You are patently bright enough to appreciate that it is your interest to take down the offending item. You might like to consider that graciousness, rather than one part sneer and one part jeer, might have been a more constructive approach. I'm not sure that anything I've said thus far is sneering and jeering, but that's, I guess, how she wants to see it. She finishes by saying, for my part, I am prepared to mark this down to youthful error and the excesses of too much ambition, as long as it's taken down without delay. I find that last sentence to be so demeaning. For my part, I'm prepared to mark this down to youthful error and the excesses of too much ambition, as long as it's taken down without delay. What ambition? Me trying to set the record straight? I didn't realize that trying to set the record straight could ever be misconstrued as somebody being overly inflated with themselves and full of youthful ambition. All right, well, I asked another clarifying question. So is it just this video or all videos about your book that you want taken down? She wasn't done, kind of telling me off because she didn't quite answer that. She comes in for another round. She says, you might also like to consider in the interest of your future perspective as well as being that no responsible critic alights upon one error in a book of several hundred pages, even if it proves to be a genuine error, which it certainly is not the case in this instance, as proof that everything else must be wrong and that the author must be a liar. Such extrapolation is the mark of irrationality. That's irrational with 3 R's. Disproportionality and illogical expectations. Presumably, you were not taught proportion either in ethics or art, which would be hardly surprising considering your age and the dire state of education nowadays. If you're going to be a critic, you might care to develop those aspects of your character which will enhance rather, and rather is spelled R-A-T-E-H-R, than diminish your observational skills. It strikes me as highly ironic that she would talk to me about the lack of education that I have, and she would misspell a word like rather so profoundly. But that's just the way it is sometimes when you're typing quickly. I responded by saying, "Your concerns are noted. Thank you for letting me know so well how you feel." And then she replied back to my previous comment about, do you want me to take everything down or just this video? She said, "I've not seen your other videos, but suspect they are all right, as I have not received complaints about their contents. I would hate to penalize you unduly, whereby your efforts elsewhere are condemned as a result of one error. So shall we say just this one?" And I said, "I've got the message. Thanks for your generosity. Do I have your permission to finish the book?" Because at this point I was like, do I finish it? I don't know, but I guess I should ask her first. She said, "As long as you do so ethically and do not resort to defamatory swipes, yes. I have no wish to embarrass you or to do anything that will deflect adversely upon your reputation or future prospects. Good book reviewers are few and far between, and I gather you exhibit talent. Good luck, and resist the temptation to fall into sensationalist potholes. A few clicks aren't worth someone's reputation. Good luck." Thanks. And okay, so like I was at school when this is happening, right? So like I'd said all I could say. And because I wasn't responding fast enough, I mean, I was just like, all right, I'm gonna have to deal with that later. She continues to just bombard me. "I understand from my people that removing a video takes only a minute or so. Why is it still up?" She comes at me again. "For the sake of clarity, I've agreed to your continuing review of my book under the condition that this video is taken down forthwith, and there are no further acts of misconduct on your part. Unless you abide by conditions to which you have agreed, my consent is withdrawn, and I will moreover be requiring the removal of all the previous videos on the grounds of breach of copyright. I will be checking back in a while and expect to see the video has been taken down as agreed." Okay, like a little bit later, "You appear to be playing a perverse and silly game. Unless this video is taken down as agreed and is done so by 10:30 p.m. GMT, I will be handing this matter over to have it dealt with on my behalf." So, I mean, like, here's the thing. She keeps not saying she's going to come after me legally. I also never agreed to take anything down. I was asking, what is it that you want? But I never agreed to take anything down. So for her to say I was refraining from doing something I promised to do, I hadn't promised to do anything. I was just talking to her about, okay, so what are you upset about and what do you want? So she really decided to get into a panic about it. Again, thank you to Sally English 5929. She says, "Lady Colin Campbell, she is a school teacher. This is during school hours. Please be patient with her, Lady C. She has 3 small children and is a school teacher herself. It isn't even dinner time yet in the US, so she's most likely teaching at school," which I was. So, that's the end of that communication. Here's the deal. What then do we do with this? Well, what we do is we just don't read this book anymore. I have no desire whatsoever to ever propagate and put out into the world anything that she has written. And this is the reason why. My initial concern that I brought to you with that video yesterday was simply that, hey, the narrative of her book doesn't quite match the video. What do you guys think? That seems concerning. Could that possibly mean that there's other things in this book that also are a bit exaggerated and are hyperbole given to us as fact? Is it possible, right? After being so unfairly treated over what was a very mild video, and for her to come at me in the comments, this wasn't even in an email, you guys. This was publicly in the comments. I have an email address where people can come and reach me. If she had wanted, and why was she getting into it? Like, if this is such offensive material, send me a C&D from your lawyer. I have an email address. You don't have to get into it in a public way. And if she had emailed me privately, I can promise you I would not be doing this video. But she wants you to hear it. She wants you to think ill of me. She wants to say all these things. Here's the thing. I don't feel like she quite made her point. I think in this exchange, she came out looking very poorly. And I stand behind the video that I made, which is why I'm deciding to take everything else down. Because if she's going to come after me like this, how can I trust the way she described Diana? I know full well what my motivation was. It was to make clear a situation in the book. And for her to say all of these hateful and cruel things and to degrade my education and to degrade me as a reviewer when she hasn't even watched any of the videos. So she has no idea about all the times when I said, wow, Lady C's really exposing a lot here. Whoa, she's like saying so many things I didn't know. Look at all these revelations. She really got a lot of great sources. She's never watched anything. And to degrade me like this as a reviewer is astounding to me. She knows nothing about me. She knows nothing about my background. She knows nothing even about the videos that are out there that she could have looked at first. I'm not going to finish the book because I don't trust the book anymore. Quite frankly, I feel super ashamed of all of that content now because I sided with somebody who I had known was a vicious person. I've seen her videos. She's caustic and unkind and relishes being unkind. I knew better than to cover something she had written. I should never have done it. It was beneath my dignity to read a book from somebody who I know to be a known gossip. And then for me to sit there and act like everything I was reading was fact and true. And then for me to serve that to you all and to continually give you more juicy stories about this scandal. What do I know? For all I know, Diana could have been a delightful person who was just completely misunderstood. Maybe she also wasn't a delightful person. More likely, she was a mix of all things. But I can tell you from the experience that I just had that Lady C doesn't care about the truth. And so my initial issue was with that one video. My feelings are, if she's going to come after me like that, I don't trust what she said about Diana. So even if she was okay with me leaving all those videos up, I wouldn't leave them up. I wouldn't leave them up because I don't like what I put into the world based on the storytelling of somebody who is this unkind. How can I believe anything that was written? So down comes all the Diana stuff, but I will not take down the video in which I asked a simple question. I will not be bullied. I will not allow somebody to tell me that I don't have a right to speak and to share my opinion, especially when I didn't do it viciously or unkindly. So I'm going to take some time off from the channel to decide what book I'm going to do next. It certainly will not be the Harry and Meghan book by Lady C. And I'm just going to decide where I kind of want to go from here. There's lots of great books out there and lots of authors who would be very excited about having their book reviewed so in depth and giving it all the honor that it deserves. All right, I'll talk to you later. Hope that helped you understand why the content's gone now and why I'm going to move on to a different book. Bye.